Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Naked with Dr. Money. I have just made the trek from Treasure Beach this morning down to Kingston, Jamaica. So I am coming to you live from Kingston, the most powerful place in Jamaica. And so this is where all the deals and all those things happen, right? So if you're going to do anything in Jamaica, you definitely have to pass through, the headquarters where everything goes down. But anyway, this week I was excited to return to Jamaica because I had been gone. Someone said they felt like it was 6 months. It really was only 2 months. But think of that. I guess I have my own little crew. They're like, "You were gone for about 6 months." I'm like, "No, I think it was just two, maybe three at the most." But definitely excited to get back and working on so many things with the business, so many new happenings that I can't wait to tell you about. But today's episode of Naked with Dr. Money is going to be fire, fire, fire. I have a very exciting guest who will be joining me. In fact, I'm just checking because I thought he would already be backstage. And let me just see what's happening with my guest in terms of getting him backstage. You should be backstage already. You don't? Do you have your login credentials? I don't. No, you see me? No, go back to the link that I gave you. It should be through StreamYard, and you have to come into StreamYard, the broadcast platform. It wouldn't have been the invitation, the calendar invite. It's not in the calendar invite. It's a separate invite. Let me see. All right, that's how it goes, guys. Sometimes you have technical difficulties, and somebody has to work them out. So when it is that it's you working it out, then I guess you have to work it out, right? So what's up with my guest? My guest is a little bit trying to get it all done, and let's see if we can get it all done and get him where he needs to be because we have some great things to discuss today. But like I said, so I made it back to Jamaica and talk about tackling some of your biggest challenges or maybe even taking on some of your biggest fears. I arrived this time and decided that from the time that I land at the airport, I was going to rent a vehicle and drive myself everywhere I needed to go to all of my meetings. So I'm like, serious guys, I was shaking, hoping I could make it out of the airport parking lot without hitting anything, right? And at least get around a roundabout or two. And I was able to do that a couple of times. And after being able to do those things, then I made it from Montego Bay to Negril, which really, that's a simple thing. I've done that enough that I could drive that path eyes closed, right? But the trickier part was when I got ready to leave Negril and realized I didn't have a working GPS or cell phone, and I was driving to Treasure Beach. Aha! Now that's where the trickery took it up a notch. And so I only got lost once in Little London, and then I made it to Treasure Beach. So I immediately texted my son and said, "Oh my God, you won't believe what happened, babe. I made it." And then he said, "Yeah, I do believe it. I believe you made it." So anyway, I've been teasing you guys about my next guest. I said he's always, kind of giving me the business and telling me, well, he shared a body, so he has special, privileges, right? And of course, he should be extra loved. So anyway, I'm happy to share with you, he'll always be my baby Sterling Ardrey, and some of you know him as Tin Colder. So I am going to bring him on. Hey, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Dr. Money?
How are you?
I'm good, Mom. Good to see you.
I'm good. I'm good.
Wonderful.
Excited to see you.
Most
So what's
definitely.
happening?
Started the day, got my workout in, so
Yeah.
now I'm back, cleaning up. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So, of course, got to make sure that, I'm the master of my space. Everything's where it needs to be.
So I caught on your Instagram videos. You were
hmm
going around the world, as you call it, going around the world, going around the world.
gotta
But I'm
engage
gonna
my
get
the abs.
that routine for you.
Yeah, well, I feel like I did a good job of displaying the movement
Show
in the
off,
video. But hey, if anybody needs any one-on-one coaching, let me
show
know.
off,
Yeah.
show off. Oh, such a show off. And to think you were the one when I said I'm naming my show Naked with Dr. Money, and you were like, Naked with Dr. Money. I'm not sure I like that name. But then look who's on IG. Need I say, closer to naked than mom? Like, what's up? What's up with that?
Well, like I said, we're activating the abdominals, so I just want to make sure it's on display, so people can, visual for the visual learners, they can understand. Activate the core. You got to breathe in, control your breathing, keep a strong torso. Everything.
Activate the core. Okay, activate the core. So today's conversation, we were going to kind of rehash some memories and experiences. What would you say are some of the highlights from, 4 to now 26? You have a few possibly things. What are some of the things you think about your growing up experience that's unique, maybe, and maybe that's not so unique, but we did it X way versus most people doing it YZ way.
Well, definitely one of the things that sticks out to me when I think back about our experience growing up is just the amount of time that we got to spend together. When I was in the second grade, we moved out to Orange County because you were working at a new company. So before, growing up in Beverly Hills, and then now, okay, we're in Irvine, California, but you still supporting my passions and career at a young age. So then we were on that freeway a lot for commuting for auditions. I would tag along with you to go to business meetings, different networking events, check out different spots, whether they be residential, commercial, things like that. So we got to spend a lot of time on the road, quality time, still being active in the athletics, extracurriculars. And, I got exposed to my mom a lot. And then some kids don't get a lot of exposure to their parents, especially when somebody like you is heavy in business and entrepreneur, working in deal making and things like that. They would just think, well, keep my kid at home. But you were like, nah, you can come along. So there I am, through different phases of my life in elementary school and middle school and high school in these networking events with these high net worth individuals. And they're kind of like doing a double take, like, that's not something you see every day, but that just kind of became a norm for me, being exposed to those environments.
I think those experiences absolutely, are great context. I was thinking about that in our conversation, actually, a more recent, the later conversation when you moved to Vegas. And then that's when I started working on this whole 420 wellness stuff. And I
Right.
was, gone like nobody expected in the midst of COVID and all of the shutdown and stuff. And hit transition from the closeness that we shared where we were in conversation in that car, all those years to then you move away for college and then you come back and then it's like, on one hand in my mind, I'm like, well, you're young adulting, right? But then it's like, that was a pretty abrupt transition,
Um,
you
I
know?
mean, yeah, yes, most definitely. But I think it was also something that we both knew was coming because I mean, throughout school, it was like, okay, where are you gonna go to school? Initially, we thought maybe it was gonna be someplace on the West Coast, and then I got into St. John's, so we took the opportunity to go try out Queens, New York for a little bit. And I was there for a semester and then came back and then, then started commuting and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think it's not, it was abrupt, definitely, in the amount of time spent going from, obviously getting to be with you every day to then, okay, now, I'm in school and I'm living somewhere else. So kind of it's a little bit more sporadic, but I think our communication line was always there, different, being over the phone versus in person, but we never like lost the communication where we could talk about what was up, what was always going on. I could, things that I'm thinking about, and you're always there to obviously give me advice and help me out as the amazing mother that you are. So I never felt like neglected or anything. 2020 though, yeah, going to Jamaica where it's like, okay, now you're gone for months and the Wi-Fi's a little different, then that took some getting adjusting to.
And then remember when you first came over and checked me out the first time, and you were like, remember the whole get you from the airport and the whole seat experience. Do you remember the experience I'm talking about?
Yeah, where I thought I was gonna have to bust you out of there. I was thinking I was Rambo.
I will never forget that. I was like, I said that was truly a testament to, Mom, you are really adventuring far off of anything that in my entire life I've experienced. Like, you were too cute when you closed the door, like, lock the door, like, do I need to call somebody? Should I sit in?
Call somebody, like I said, we about to throw you over my shoulder. Let's go.
Out here. You're like, we break it up. Oh man, but that is so beautiful because think about that, the relationship that we get to continue to have along the journey, as both a relationship, I say, of not only the obvious one of being your mom, but I think the relationship where we're able to hold space for one another to have meaningful conversations, not only meaningful conversations about things that may be troubling us, but
Mm-hmm.
also about things that may be inspirations. Like when you think about some of the things that maybe served as motivations, what were some of the things that you think we shared or we experienced that really in hindsight, you find now, wow, that was really kind of motivational? Or do you have any of those kind of memories?
Motivational memories, I would say the deep conversation and like as I don't know if you tell this story to a lot of people, but kind of like things like for example, when I was younger and we used to like love to run to race and you wouldn't let me win, kind of instilling at a young age that it's like to be victorious, you have to put in the work. So as you said, well, you knew I was going to get faster than you one day, so why let you win now? Make you earn it. And in high school, I'm playing ball and I'm missing free throws. So you're like, okay, we're gonna go to the gym, and you sat there until I made 25 in a row, and that took out. So just like those, you showed me that it's like, things take time, and that
Sure.
time when it's focused energy into something, it can be accomplished. And our story, which is going to be told in books and in movies and TV shows, but we lived it. It's like, yeah, there were so many moments where I came to you, and I guess I don't know if it was frustrating that the naivety of a kid, I'm asking like, why is this not happening? And I mean, as I've gotten older, it's like, well, that's just kind of life, is that you can do the right things and things not go the way that you plan them to, but we never stopped. I mean, we ain't stopping.
Exactly. You never stop. So what do you think when you think back about your early childhood? Think about this, Sterling.
Right.
You are an athlete because you still are an athlete. You never stop being an athlete. I mean, from snowboarding to t-ball to basketball to football to track to skateboarding to wakeboarding to surfing to, right?
Right.
And a child actor, not just one category, commercial, film, recurring role in series, voiceover actor. I mean, like, and then now producer, artist, videographer, direct. I mean, like, Sterling,
Hmm.
why are you such an overachiever?
I don't think it's you set the bar so high, Mom. I'm living in the Ardrey legacy, you know. At a young age, what did you used to tell me? Okay, you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you wash your face. Look at all those brands. You know, somebody's making money off of the little things that you do every day. So at that young age, you taught me what a brand is. So, you know, it might have clicked a little bit later in life for me, but it's like, okay, building a brand and just being authentic to who you are and what your interests are. You know, that's this is it'd be foolish not to. You know, this is America.
Exactly. And it's a runway, right? So
Right.
sometimes it's, I think sometimes it's important for people to get in the huddle,
Right.
and in that huddle, know that that huddle is a place that they can go. I mean, that was the thing, that was a space that meant so much. Sure, I talk a lot of times about how much it was so difficult. It's been so difficult for me to kind of get my rhythm fully going for my big dreams, right?
Mhm.
Since my mom passed. And, people always say, well, that's easy to say. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying it for the fact that, but it was like, no, she served a function beyond just being my mother, but a function that literally gave me wings.
Mhm.
And I discovered that that function was very critical to me sustaining those wings because I didn't have a succession plan yet in place behind her. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because she was premature in in exiting, but then I guess now as I've lived a little bit longer and realized that I've had to earn the earn it, right? We
Right.
set an intention, and the Almighty and the ancestors say, okay, well, then now we know what directions to give you, but you're on a journey. We don't just tap you on the head and go, voila, here it is. You have to grow through it. Now I see the blessings in, the challenges or, the upside, the pleasure that you can derive from the pain. But
Mhm.
man, the healing after so many years of hurting. And so I'm so happy that I can begin to kind of tell some of those different stories just because I see so many people hurting and struggling. And what's become really apparent to me, what's prominent to me, is that there's a lot of lack of discipline. A lot. You now just think about everything that we discussed. To do one of those things, you must master discipline because you had to have some level of commitment for the continuity that's required to excel in whatever it is that you're looking to excel at. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you only choose to excel in one thing, but what it does mean is that you learn a methodology that works for you. And so a lot of times what people don't realize, that's really what college aims to do for young people. It's to, okay, this is your first kind of ease out of the nest. You're going to be able to control if you get up and make it to class or not. Nobody's going to make you. If you lose your money, if you get kicked out, if you don't end up with an education, we got our tuition. Shame on you. you know,
Right.
right? So it's that first transition, and a lot of people fail,
Mhm.
right? But it's a safe fail. It's okay. They feel like you might fail, but then you kind of realize these consequences, and you begin to start developing personal accountability.
Right.
But there are grown people in the world who are, who never learned those basics,
Mhm.
and not having that foundation shows up. It never goes away. You
Right.
be 60 years old, and it's still showing up. And so I think that when you talk about, now, like maybe tell me more, because when you first transitioned into music, I was a little bit surprised because we knew that music was in your foundation, but you hadn't been talking about music for a long time.
Mhm.
And then you decided to find your way back to your music. So, what was it in that transition that you found that said, this is time for me to go down this path of my artistry?
I would have to say just being inspired by other artists that I was listening to, I take a lot of inspiration from Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, um, Travis Scott, Kanye West. I don't know if it's safe to say his name. Pharrell. These other black entertainers that use music as a creative outlet and then have been able to create brands that are having an impact on society. I hope majority of the time in a positive way, it seems. So just understanding that, I wanted to put my creativity, had the experience of being in front of the camera, but also just love being a performer. I mean, from a young age, I was always the first kid that they would call like, "Hey, we got a talent show. Love to have little Sterling there," and boom, I'm up there dancing to some Usher, some Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, whatever it is, for my 3 minutes, and just loving like, okay, like this is what it means to be a performer and give people a show. Always care about putting on a good show. So music, just being with my friends kind of like as a joke, hey, well, let's put out a little freestyle thing, and then all right, doing it, getting a response, and then just like, let's keep it going. And early on in the music making process around 2018, I told myself, I was like, all right, knowing who my inspirations are, the Pharrells, the Kanye West, Tyler Creator, Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar, I consider them more than just artists, but musicians, because they care about really the sonics of the music and the whole packaging of it. So I was like, okay, I want to have the visual understanding. So studied fine art photography, bought a camera, started doing production for other people, and then wanted to produce music. Grew up playing violin in school, and then having a drum set, and then a keyboard and an acoustic guitar. So having those first little foundation notes, and then just wanting to build upon it, and yeah, I'm loving it. I'm creating a sound that's me, and people know it's me. I represent where I'm from, and I talk about the things that I like to talk about.
Things that you like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So should mommy be doing some edits to your lyrics, your messaging, or should I just stay on I've kept my hands off. Now tell the truth, because I never was in I was not in your Kool-Aid as a mom, as a teenager. I gave you room to be teenagers. I was not, but now I wonder. I did promise you a whooping every Friday, and I really think that that's the only thing that I fell short on. I think that those whoopings.
Nah, because I was such a good kid that it's like you gonna spank a good kid? Can't spank a good kid.
Sneaky or spoiled. You're working on manipulating mommy. You had me wrapped around your finger and then some, which was so funny. I don't know if I ever told you how many grown men seriously cried just about when they learned that I'd had a baby and that it was going to be, a boy child. They were like, poor kid. And then I said, no, it's the other way around. I done been breaking balls all this time, and then I have something this big that's got me wrapped around his finger. I'm like, remember, you started here.
Yeah.
I have to remind you, because now it's like, look at you now. So, all right. So we talked a little bit about motivations, touched on a little bit about your music, touched on a couple of memories. So what do you think right now when you look at where it is that I've transitioned from, you know, broke out of California to Vegas finally after never leaving the state, and then couldn't even get unpacked good because I'm all the way in a whole nother country trying
Right.
trying to conquer it.
Exactly.
So what did you think? Did anybody ask you, or did you just say my mom went mad, or like
Nah, I mean it's funny the
is
the
this my
reaction that I would get a lot of the times. I tell people like, oh, how your mom doing? Oh, she's good. She's in Jamaica, and they're like, oh, like vacation? Like, no. Like at first, it was a vacation, but they're just like, no, she's building something. It's gonna be huge. It's 421 is Jamaica, so it's like people kind of. It's to me, it's like that. this is my mom. This is the plan that I got to hear at such a young age, wanting to be an international business tycoon. So this is what I expected to see, right? This has always been what I've heard growing up. So to me, it's like, yeah, this is my mom's supposed to be. People kind of, wow, what's this? It's like, it's okay.
Not only heard, I've been doing the work.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And
That's a different thing. Would you say that even as people have looked at the journey, sometimes people have questions like, I pivoted into be real estate development so that I could be, you know what I mean? Because it's like, well, if you want to develop it or you want to have somebody else do it for you, it's like, well, it's something I want to develop it myself. So
right.
then I want to learn how to develop, and I want to learn how to develop good. I don't want to learn how, I didn't do fix and flippers. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I jumped straight to my smallest project, $150 million project. So I jumped straight into the $1 billion league, like leapfrog out the gate. Right? That's a whole different experience than even if I was working up. But guess why that happened? I think I didn't need to work up from the bottom from flipper to how to do it that way, because I just needed the technical skills so that I could do it this way. Because that was, the intention.
Right.
Frustrating along the journey, because sometimes I wanted to, work with some of those companies because the projects were exciting. But then I also knew that I had to, okay, let me go take on the next lesson. I mean, did that seem exhausting to you?
I wouldn't say exhausting. I think, like, as a kid growing up, I guess, as a young person, I didn't really understand, like, people talk about it's a process. It's a process. Like, yeah, it's understanding what it means to have a work ethic. But, like, the things that I was working for, I'd say didn't have the same understanding, like the long game. I think it's hard for any 12, 13-year-old to understand, like, what is the long game, because it's like, I've only been around for 12, 13, so it's like, what does that really mean? But it's every step of the path and the journey, you're sharpening your tools to be an international business tycoon. It's like, as you walk it back in reverse, it makes sense. Like, yes, I had to go to these different spots to be in this position to even say, make that a possibility. So that's the thing, is like, yes, you claim this is the life that you wanted for you, for us, for our family's legacy. And, okay, then here it goes, the
Here you go. Game on.
10,000, exactly, 10,000 hours at every level to
Right.
become the master, where, like you said, you wanted to develop it. So
That's interesting, that 10,000 hours. Now, that was a conversation that we've had. A lot of people haven't necessarily had that conversation. So when you think about 10,000 hours and knowing that, and even at your, young adult age, how do you think that has framed, especially trying new things or learning new things for you?
Understanding that, like, there's a lot of stuff that you're not going to be good at when you first start, from like making music for me, and even acting and performing is like, and playing sports. It's you're not going to be good at a lot of things when you first start. But if you're willing to put in the time and you put in the work and you challenge yourself, then yes, you'll see a progression, and you can look back and, 10,000 hours, 100 days straight, whatever it is, that's your thing, and like see the progress. So that's always motivating to, like, right now, my mentality, or of late, my mentality is be just focus on the work. Don't even worry about the outcome of, oh, how many listeners is this song getting today when it drops? This is just another one, a building block in my process to becoming the master of this, the skill of making music, and just the master of myself, really. That's why, if I can master myself, I can master anything. So just having that discipline and that focus.
It's so interesting that you describe it like that, because I remember that that's what I would say to you. Like when we were going to your auditions, I was like, we don't worry about the outcome of the audition. What we worry about is we got the call, we got a chance to review the script, you took and interpreted the role, and you delivered it.
Right.
Check box, we won. Right?
Right.
We did it on time. We did all of those things, and the rest, let the rest take care of itself. So it's very exciting for me to hear that that really is still part of your philosophy and your thinking, and your recognition about discipline. Because I was having a conversation with someone about, and I promise you, there won't be any surprises at this next graduation. This graduation, we are done. But I surprised everybody at the graduation for my doctorate because I had just gotten accepted into law school. And it's like, really, you just a glutton for punishment, huh? And it's like, no, not really. But I kind of just feel like I'm getting closer to next. And I want to be able to say that this box is done, and checked. Like I don't have to look back anymore. But so the part that was so difficult for me was I didn't understand why some professors in particular felt it necessary to take pot shots, or to try to feel like they needed to try to make me feel a certain way because of my accomplishments, when I'm like, my doctorate and my published dissertation and all that's over there. I'm over
Right.
here in law school. I'm back at zero on the trek for 10,000 hours. I'm like, I'm back at zero. I'm not in here being extra in no way, because I have 8 years at least of university level teaching experience. So I know what that dynamic is about. And I have more
Mm.
than that of student experience. So come on now. But, so I'm grateful to be at the finish line. And son, I want to thank you because you supported me. You held space for me. You supported the intention. You held space for me these last, from 2020 to now, and a whole nother country experience with, technology gaps and everything else. I mean, I couldn't have even gotten this far along this journey without your help. You held me down. You held the house down. You held the bit, you kept it pushing. And so, you have every reason to share in this milestone, because we are happy that law school now, beyond starting to study for the bar and that, but you know what I mean? But that's just a last little technicality. But in terms of the other things, the main things, we can check those boxes and move
Mm.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I heard Money Palette on the radio today when I was driving from Treasure Beach to Kingston.
Okay.
I think it was a couple of his tunes. Made me think about the one you did with him, the collab. Wondering if that song is gonna ever see the light of day.
Just might. It just might. When the time is right.
All right, all right,
Mm.
all right. Well, a few people were asking about you. You have your Jamaica fans, and someone
Hey,
told me to tell you, hey man.
that's what's up. You said
Yeah,
you're in Treasure Beach, correct?
I was. I'm in Kingston now.
Kingston, that's right, in Kingston.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, to all the Jamaican viewers who are watching right now, I want to say what's up, man. Much much love, and can't wait to come back. She got to do 2 years in a row, so got to make it 3.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
And guess what? All of the festivals are starting again.
that's
So
right.
Woodstock and the Grill and everything else, they having a big reggae fest, showing up. So all of those things are happening. Yes, it's all happening.
Right.
Um, all of that is exciting. Hey, Jeff, we see you. Oh, hey, Kathleen, we see you. We see you. We got love out there. Our love out there in the audience support. So
Mm.
shout outs. So, well, darling, I am thinking that we probably covered most of the hot topics, unless you had something else that you need to drop.
Thank you for having me on, Dr. Money. This is the first 420 Wellness Naked with Dr. Money vlog, and I'm glad that this is my first one, and I can't wait to come back. Thank you for allowing me to share the space with you, and let people hear this beautiful conversation, because I think there's so many learning points and just things that people can take from this open, honest dialogue. So thank you for letting me be a part of this. Honestly.
Thank you. Thank you, Pooh Bear. I get to slip one last one in. I love you, and we'll have to get you scheduled so you can drop a new release or something.
Yes, most definitely. I love you too, Mom.
All right, I'll be looking forward to it. Well, tell Nat I said, hey.
Will do, will do.
I'll see you later, sweetheart.
All right, see you later, Mom.
Well, everyone, again, I want to thank you for joining me for another segment of Naked with Dr. Money. As you can see, my pride and joy, I know I couldn't stop giggling. My cheeks hurt. He makes me happy. So it was very nice to share some time with Sterling or Tim Colder with you, and hopefully a few nuggets. What I do encourage is that you continue to have conversations and recognize that, yes, we may be the parents, but our offspring become adults on their own. And the beauty is in being able to continue in relationship, in a real relationship. But that requires both sets, parents and children, to hold space for one another. And that space sometimes can be a little bit different than the space that's held when it is you're in mommy role. I'm talking about being able to hold a space where you're not in your typical role that's an authoritative type role, but you're more creating a space that's safe for each person to speak freely and honestly, even sometimes be able to share things that it's heavy, right? Well, I'll tell you, we're at a time that the country, the world is experiencing um, a high level of mental health challenges. And we have to find ways to address some of those challenges by sharing messages, and more than just sharing messages, because people are tired of just seeing a tagline. We really have to unpack what are some of the methodologies that one can use and employ to really begin to address the hurts that possibly they've never shared with anyone else. And so we need to also be mindful around one another that you never know. You might be holding the only safe space that that person has had, even if they may not have realized that they needed it. So be a little kind. Lead first with love. Lead first with a smile. You probably make someone's day. Start there. And I hope you'll continue to join me for Naked with Dr. Money, where I kind of pull back the curtain and share a little bit about how I, as the CEO of ZenoVerse Wellness Group and 420 Wellness Jamaica, how I address mind, body, and soul while addressing life, just like you and everyone else does. So I hope to see you again. Remember, it's Wednesday at noon Pacific, and I'll let you know who my next guest is going to be. But thanks so much for sharing space with me, and I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.